DraftSociety.com presents a Premier League Draft Fantasy Podcast. Welcome to the Key Pass Collective. Your exclusive source for the information, analysis, and advice you need to dominate your fantasy leagues. Come on in. We've been expecting you.
Draft heads, what is happening? Welcome into the Key Pass Collective. My name is Joe Williams. I'll be your host here for this particular episode, coming to you from the apocalyptic hellscape that was once known as America. No, I'm not going to be that dramatic about it. But of course, yes, some of us are a little bit bummed. Some of us are a little bit triumphant today. So whichever side you are on, I wore this shirt on purpose today. It says be kind. So it was a reminder of my students and also to myself. So anyway, welcome in on a bit of a sensitive one. But yeah, here we are. And we're going to talk some draft fantasy because it's one of those things that gives us comfort. So let's do this. Yeah, welcome in, y'all. So reminder, Key Pass Collective, this is the audio companion to the Draft Society website. If you're not familiar with what that is, then let's quick run through that for you, okay? Well, the Draft Society is going to be the place where you need to go to basically get all your questions answered for anything having to do with the draft game. It's your one-stop shop, essentially. So anything dealing with this draft Premier League fantasy football game, we've got it there for you. Top 75 consensus rankings, weekly waiver wire articles, Sleepers 11 every single week, Ghost Point Hunters, useful draft stats, all of those things. Oh, and projected lineups. All those things are free every single week. Check that out. We think they're really, really helpful. And again, free to anybody in the general public playing this game or not. And if you are willing to support an independent fantasy football website, we would really appreciate it. And that extra support will get you some extra perks as well. So as people can see, if they're watching the live stream or if you are listening to the audio version, we've got rest of season player rankings, player points projections for every single week. We've got consensus rankings during international break. So that is coming right up. We're going to be doing some consensus rankings. Top 150, all of the analysts, or at least all the ones who can do it this time, from the Draft Society. Should be at least 4 or 5 or 6 of us. So that'll be fun. All kinds of other stuff. Trade advice, set piece taker tracker, etc. If you're willing to sign up for the rest of the season, though, you will get the Fantasy Toolkit, which is a bespoke tool to your Fantrax ID, tailored to your league, that will tell you exactly who to pick up. It will tell you maybe who to trade for, what the value of your team is. It will give you projections each week against your opponent. It will give you what's the word I'm looking for? Power rankings. There it is. For your entire league, all of the teams in your league. And it will also help you to plan for the rest of the season with the future planning tool. So it'll give you players whose rest of season value is highest among those who are available in your league. It's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. Check it out. It's definitely worth it. Yeah. Shout out to DraftLad for the amazing work he's done on that. Okay. Hey, everybody. How are you? Okay. Let me just check in with some folks. As I mentioned, we are on a live stream currently. Wednesday nights at 5:30 is almost always when we do the live stream. If you haven't joined one, you should join one. There is such good chat going on in the chat at all times. And people who are regulars now, we see you guys every week, and it's amazing. It's heartwarming. Brandon, Haroon, Draft Espresso, what is going on? Andrew, Mr. Nauru, Bantah Boys is in there, which we'll talk to him here in just a second. Draft Hash, Draft Pie, Omar, Lloyd, Old Scruffy's back again. You guys are amazing. Thanks for joining us. Robbie P, what's up? Thanks for joining us. We love you all. And if you have questions as we go through this, feel free to ask them. Of course, we'll try to get to them as we can. But let's bring in a couple of gentlemen here to chat tonight. We've got Sanjy. We've got Jeannie. Jeannie graces us with his presence. How the hell are both of you?
I must say I love your shirt. I need to get one myself, I think.
I'll direct you to the right place.
Yeah, that's a beautiful message you started the pod with, man.
Yeah,
honestly,
thanks.
Really is. And I guess my condolences to you and your country, I guess, given the given the results. I mean, I have a few American friends, and everyone I've spoken to is just crushed in a sense, and it's like trying to figure out, what are the next steps, this and that, and yeah, it's concerning, man. But listen, we gotta hope for the best.
Yeah.
And just keep trying to put one foot in front of the next. I'm sure it'll get better, right? I'm sure. So
yeah, right. I would hope so. I don't know. I know we have to have at least one. We have to have at least one listener, I'm sure, who supported the other party, and congratulations to you. Yeah, it was a result that certainly I did not see coming. So yeah, I try to be magnanimous, try to be understanding where I can. So it's just like one of those things that's baffling me, but I also don't. I just don't really understand how everything went down. It was a wild night.
Yeah. It's interesting because like I asked like a lot of my different circles, do you know anyone that supported the other side, et cetera, and yeah, it all came back with zero like votes or whatever, or like no one was like supporting that side or whatever, and yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting to hear that. I don't know.
Yeah, when you live here, plenty of folks who support the other side, and a lot of it kind of depends on sometimes at least where you live in the country. What do you say, Ryan?
I got nothing, man. I'm still in the mourning phase.
I feel
just depressing. But yeah, I know. I mean, I have family and friends from back home in Ohio that support him, and I'll never get it. I'll never understand.
Yeah,
and that's the way it is.
Jeannie, you doing better in the Great White North?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I was following along more so like. I mean, this is going to be like a piss take, but because there was some good betting odds out there. So, shoot, me and my friends, we were trying to like make a little game out of it. Like, let's put some money on this person. And like, the live odds kept changing. But I don't follow U.S. politics that much, but I do understand the upset faces today. That much, at least I know.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. U.S. politics is an absolute pile of filth. So... that we can all agree on.
I miss Rob Ford showing us what's what. Smoking crack.
Hey, everyone's welcome up here. No questions.
Obviously.
Yes. No, I completely. When you said the name, I forgot who that was, and then the smoking crack thing. Of course, that was. Yeah. What an amazing story.
But he died, and his brother is still in the Ontario government. Is that right?
Holding it down.
Yep. Yeah, that's where
brother's still holding it down. I love that.
Joe, you might remember this, but it's funny to think about back to like 2004 Kerry Bush when like people were freaking out and threatening to leave Canada, which now it's warranted.
Oh, yeah.
Looking back, it's like, oh my God, I would kill for Bush right now. But there was a movie called Blue State where like
oh yeah,
that dude from Road Trip, I think, moves to Canada after Bush wins in 2004. I've never watched it, but I was thinking about that today.
Wasn't that a Kevin Smith movie? Oddly enough, I'm sorry, that was Red State.
Oh yeah, that was like a faux like horror movie.
Like a thriller horror. Yeah.
No, this one was like a serious take
Man,
on
Bear, Pig. Yes, exactly. Old Scruffy. Man, Bear, Pig. Yeah, you would actually, Ryan, you'd be very proud. One of my students, did I already tell you this? I can't remember or not. One of my students did a speech, his memorized speech. He did the Howard Dean speech where he screams at the end of it. Yeah. I was like, how the hell did you even know about that?
Yeah,
as a 14-year-old right now. It's wild. Yeah.
Yo, the kids have access to so much information.
It's crazy.
More than we did when we were kids. So
it's crazy, right? I know it's wild. All right, guys, let's get into the stuff that actually makes us feel good today. Today on the KPC, we're going to talk soccer. We're going to talk football. Let's do this. So first things first. Well, I guess maybe not the thing that makes us feel good. All of us here. Sorry, Ryan. But we're going to talk midweek madness, what happened in the midweek games, at least so far, and just kind of see if there's any takeaways there. Then we're going to go back to the last straw because it's been a few weeks, and I feel like there are some new players that are annoying us and testing our limits. Finally, then we'll get back to kind of your streamer section, your Game Week 11 preparation, but we're also going to sprinkle in some international break stashes. So guys you could pick up now and then potentially hold through the break and make our case for why we think they might have some value going forward. So yeah, let's do it. Midweek madness. Well, City suffered another loss in pretty comical fashion. It has to be said. Interesting with City. I don't know that there were no injuries. I don't know that there's a lot of fantasy implications here, but like their players aren't scoring well. There doesn't seem to be any cohesion right now on the team. Like, what is going on? And are you trying to trade in City players?
First, I think we need to point out that like they've been living on the edge for weeks now. Like,
True.
They should have dropped points to Wolves. Obviously, should have dropped points to us. Like, I think the Rodri shaped hole in their midfield is finally starting to show some cracks, and they're finally actually having some tough matchups. They had a breeze early schedule, along with some other injuries, and yeah, it hasn't helped. I'm still trying to like buy low on Foden, I think, depending on the price.
I roster him. He's been rough. He's been rough.
I want to see what KDB's return does for him and a couple others, but you got to think he's done his penance and he should be relatively, I hesitate to say nailed on, but featuring a lot moving forward.
Draft Espresso, would you trade out Foden for Madison right now?
No.
If Madison was starting, like if I see Madison start on Sunday, I'd probably just accept that because I'm different than you guys. I think Foden's going back to some rotation nonsense. Doku's back, KDV's back. There's only so many spots. Kovacic, like he's a lock pretty much. Savinho's there too. Bernardo Silva. So you could go like Kovacic, Bernardo Silva, KDB in that midfield, and then Savinho and Doku out wide. So there's lots of potential for Foden not to start. Yeah. Plus, hasn't he been scoring like absolute garbage?
Yeah, he's been bad. He's been bad. I think he had 4 this last week.
Yeah, he has 1 double-digit outing. Yeah. Honestly, I'd probably lean Madison now that I look at it.
That's a close one, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Any other City takeaways, guys?
Their defense is awful. But,
trash.
There's no need to even stream those guys. Like you're better off
streaming, notwithstanding.
Like, of course.
Well, like the streamer ones, you're better off going to like the Southampton defenders at that point.
They are away at Brighton. They're home to Tottenham. They're away at Liverpool before they get Forest, Palace, and then Manchester United under Amorim, which will be interesting.
But I don't see them keeping a clean sheet in any of those games because Forest could score. Palace, if Eze's back, they could probably score.
It is at Palace, and he should be back by then. It's December 7th. But that's the only one I would even think about starting a City defender.
No, like Guardiola, you're starting, but the others...
Yeah.
Dear God.
Oh, man. Yeah. All right. Liverpool were impressive, and the one thing I wanted to bring up from that was we saw Tsimikas again, we saw Curtis Jones again, and we saw Curtis Jones be incredibly effective. We saw Curtis Jones do things that Dominic Szoboszlai could only dream of. And I am starting to wonder, because Szoboszlai was benched, I'm starting to wonder if Jones might just be winning that spot.
I got my camera off, but I'm like holding up my hands. I was like, I was the only one that pled the Curtis Jones case
You
a couple
did.
weeks ago.
It's true. Yeah.
Let's see if it pans out. But I held him. Southampton after the break.
Oh, at this point, if you have him, there's no chance you're dropping him. I hope. Yeah, I mean, Tsimikas, I think we'll talk about a little bit more later as well. But yeah, we saw Gakpo and Diaz both start together, which was an interesting one. Darwin completely and utterly in the mud.
It's going to be tough for those managers who have Darwin and Jota on this weekend. When neither probably start.
Yeah, because you thought you had that like locked up.
Yeah, it's like the Neto Sancho thing when all of a sudden you see Felix starting over them.
Yeah. Oh, brutal. Okay. Anything else on Liverpool's recent form?
Great team, man. Look like a title contending team. So
They look pretty good. I'll give you that. I just made the case to my friend like a week and a half ago why we weren't a title contending team. And then this happens. So yeah, I'm trying to stay humble. Yeah, I know, exactly. Arsenal and Villa scoreless in 1-0 defeats. I don't know. There's a ton of to talk about there. Ryan, was Kai Havertz injured, or was that just a niggle?
Got a head injury. He was like bleeding profusely from his head. So
That's right.
I don't know if it was like concussion protocol or I mean, it was like, I think, an injury time. So I think he should be okay, but something to monitor in the next couple of days. But
the guy from the training staff had blood all over his fucking jacket.
Yeah, it was
that was crazy.
It was a sieve, man. It was coming out. Yeah, TLDR in the game was we looked a little bit better and dangerous offensively, but just couldn't capitalize. And then gave up a stupid penalty, and that was that. Odegaard being back in the squad is good news. I'm hoping that he'll be ready to start this weekend. If not, he'll be fine after the international break. Big game this weekend, and then regroup over the international breaks.
Right. I'm wondering if he maybe wisely gives Odegaard another substitute run out, and then.
Yeah, I was hoping for more minutes today, to be honest, which would have given me a better signal, especially since it's his last game. So like, I wouldn't, if you don't have any cover, I wouldn't count on a Odegaard start. What I'm kind of doing is I have a couple decent Arsenal players like Ben White and Marino that I'll keep a slot open for, and if Odegaard plays, then obviously I'll slot him in. But if not, I'm totally fine with slotting in one of the others. But yeah, since it's the last game of the game week, it makes it tricky.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Oh yeah. God, yeah, it is. And there's not many streamers in those two teams, unfortunately, unless you're going to start a Chelsea defender. I don't know that I would do that.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Fair enough. All right. So then anything from Villa? Did anybody watch that or track it or keep up with it? I have to admit I did not.
Either.
I mean, our Villa rep was basically just like pissed off in our Discord the entire time, ranting about Bailey, Diego Carlos. I don't think it was a good performance by them. I didn't catch the game either, but I don't know. They seem to be another team that is kind of losing a bit of form and like conceding goals, and maybe Champions League is catching up with them, the extra fixtures, that sort of stuff. I don't know if you caught the Tyrone Mings horror show. Apparently it was a goal kick. The keeper touched it. He picked it up and they gave away a penalty because of that.
I did not.
He hasn't played in like 3 years, so like, cut him
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he forgot how football works. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Villa were poor.
Oh man, everybody's talking about him in chat right now.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh man, that's brutal. I had not heard about that. That's crazy. I'll have to watch that later. I would say Rodgers came out and right around 60 again. Duran came in at 58. It's got to be time for Duran to start one at some point here, don't you think?
I mean, you could say the same thing about Nkunku sometimes.
I know. Yeah.
I think they're both in the same boat. I don't know if I still think it's a lineup call unless your starting 11 is perfect. I don't see the sense in stashing him right now.
Yeah. Okay. That is fair. All right. Let's keep moving here. So, last straw. This is a segment that we'd like to revisit every now and then as players start to get on our nerves and start to test our patience. So, players that we are almost done with. Again, that is players we are almost, not quite, almost done with.
But that's the last straw.
All right, the last straw. We've got our candidates on the screen. We'll go through them kind of one by one. You guys can make your case for them, and we can see if we would try to trade these guys out on a low, if we would maybe just be dropping these guys, or if these are guys we want to hold and kind of keep the faith, if you will. Brian, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I can. Wilfred Ndidi. I thought I was pretty fortunate to pick him up early in the season in one league, but I only got I think one or two of his performances at the number 10, where he was just a house on fire early on. The last four, however, in more of a CDM role, he's been just as mediocre as it gets. Like I put in the doc, less than 6 points per start over the last 4 game weeks.
Yeah.
So I tried to trade him out weeks ago when his PPG was still pretty respectable. Couldn't get anything for him.
Yeah.
So now he's just kind of in this purgatory where I don't feel comfortable enough to start him, but I still feel like he has enough value to not be on the wire. But I think the rubber's going to hit the road, and I'm going to need some room, so I'll probably ditch him this weekend, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I can tell you he is on the wire in one of my leagues.
Yeah, that's fair. I haven't been jammed up in that league yet to force my hand. So
actually, Genie, he's on the wire in our league. Didn't you have him?
Yeah, I added and dropped him multiple times. When I see the lineups come out and he's not in the advanced role, it's just another Decoure, Lerma type player. I'm just not interested in starting one of those. I'd rather punt on someone else or an extra defender now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes total sense. Was it Buonanote's form that moved him out of that role, or what was the impetus there?
Yeah. He came in and hasn't put a foot wrong really since.
Yeah.
So that's basically it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. That one might be a drop.
Yeah, I think so. It's put him in here just because I still have him.
No, I like it. But
yeah, his last straw was probably a few weeks ago. I've been too merciful on that one with old Wilfred.
Your next one affects me deeply as well.
Yeah, me too. I have him in 2 leagues, and we were sold a bill of goods early on when he looked amazing and dropped 10 ghosts against Arsenal. I had to do the calculation a couple of times to make sure that I was doing it right. 2 ghosts per start over the last 5, including the dreaded goose egg 0 total points.
Yep.
2 weeks
Bournemouth,
ago,
no less. Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew he was going to be goal dependent, but this is pretty bad, and just it's tough because you watch Villa and he's right behind Watkins, right behind the strikers, gets us into dangerous positions. I don't know how many really good passes he's fed to Watkins, who's just scuffing them. If he could get off some clean shots, those key passes would tick up and more assists. But yeah, he's boom or bust at this point. So I'm gonna try to trade him out this week based on that 17-pointer against Spurs, which he was on my bench in both leagues because I just don't trust him anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
So obviously not droppable, but like I want to be rid of him.
That one's definitely not droppable, but he, as of late, has not made it to the 70th minute, sometimes even the 60th.
Yeah, he's also been run to the ground, like playing
True
every midweek and EPL game, which is nice to be reliable, but like I wonder if he's just like missing some legs. The international break actually could be pretty good for him.
Yeah. And it's not going to change the fact that he doesn't ghost at all.
Yeah.
But nah, it's brutal. All right. Sanjy, do you want me to go next or do you want to go?
Either. I can go.
Go for it.
So Trossard is it's a tricky one. Like he's very very highly owned. Arsenal, I think, are about to embark on one of the best fixture runs as well. Like other than Wolves and maybe Bournemouth, I can't see a better fixture run at the moment. And Odegaard's coming back as well. But the thing is like Tross really hasn't been scoring, and to me, he looks a bit tired. Like Arsenal just look out of sorts. So I don't know if this is one of those similar situations. So Morgan Rogers, where maybe you try and show some patience if possible. But the thing is, I don't know how they're potentially going to set up on the other side of the international break with Odegaard back up and running. Like, does he get less minutes? Like, sometimes he's better off the bench, like scoring braces or winners for Arsenal. So this one's a really, really tricky one. And right now, like if he gets to start, let's say because of the Kai injury and stuff like that against Chelsea, I'm a bit nervous to start him if I owned him. Like I don't own him anywhere, but I don't know if you guys own him anywhere.
I don't like rostering him just because of the rotation and the goal dependence. So I stayed away from him. I don't think I've ever rostered him, but yeah, his ghosts have been horrendous. And yeah, once Odegaard is back, he'll revert to rotating with Martinelli on the left wing, which is a paradox because he scores better from there, but he'll also get less starts with Odegaard back. So
yeah,
I don't know if there's much of a market for him other than to the Martinelli rosterer, but yeah, he's in the mud.
Yeah, I actually just traded him out 2 days ago. I had him.
What'd you get?
I got Jack Grealish. It's not exactly a win, but I have Doku as well.
Do that.
So I was like,
that's a good trade.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you have Doku, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, the best next offer was 2 fab for him. So yeah.
Good lord,
man.
I definitely rather just drop him.
So that leads me to think that people are even considering dropping him at this point, because 2 fab that's a waiver wire guy. Like,
yeah, I mean, I got some other offers, like literally like people who were picked up in that waiver wire run or something like that. But yeah, he's not someone I was able to even like package with someone else to get something. They're like, nah, I don't want. I would rather the free spot than Trossard. That was the reply I got.
Yeah, that's fair. Andrew knows you too well. He said, considering you definitely have 0 fab, that's a bargain.
Yeah, that tells you how worthless they think Trossard is. The fact they're offering me fab.
Somebody who doesn't believe that fab has any value. I like that. Yeah, honestly, Sanjy, I'm just looking at his numbers now. I don't roster him. I did not know they were this bad.
What's mental to me is it's a 97% rostered player.
Yeah. Midfield, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy this year.
Yeah, it's a minefield. And I mean the rule change with the defenders and stuff is helping a little bit because there are people like, considering playing a defender instead of a midfielder. Like it's not a set and forget back 3 anymore.
Yep. Which never would have happened last year.
Yeah, and it's kind of refreshing, right? Because it kind of opens up the game slightly.
Totally.
Makes it a bit trickier, that sort of stuff. But yeah, my next pick is Leon Bailey, man. An asset that I think went round 4, round 5 in drafts this season.
Yeah.
He's not scored above 10 points at all this season. His highest scores were 9.25 and 8, and both of those included an assist. So,
wow.
Do I need to go on like more than that? I don't think so.
No, and the 8, he didn't even start that match.
Yeah, so it's really bad, man. And given the reaction from Villa fans with tonight's performance as well, it's just maybe someone believes in his resurgence on the other side of Christmas or whatever like that, or Boxing Day, as Totti loves to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't own him anywhere, thank God. But if you did, like, try to get some sort of value or something out of it, of some good fixture, I don't know. But I would easily drop if I needed to win my game week or I needed a starting player, that sort of stuff. Like, I wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't get any trades in, are you comfortable dropping him?
I think so. I think you have to be a bit ruthless about an asset like Bailey at the moment. I mean, listen, it could turn out bad, like how Fatau went, right? Fatau started hot, started to get benched for like 5-6 games in a row. People lost their patience. I lost my patience as well, right? And I dropped. He came back, and now he's smashing it again. I mean, it happens in fantasy football all the time. But for me right now, my gut is like I think I'd drop him.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair too, this is what we were used to seeing from him previously. He had never been like a really prolific fantasy asset. He was always very goal dependent, and even when he started, it was this mirage of, you could pick him up and you have a starting forward, but yeah, I mean, there was the purple patch last season, and I just think it's starting to look more and more like that's exactly what that was.
Yeah, and maybe Diaby being there last season added some sort of a balance. Took a bit of workload off of him in some games as well. But yeah, it's crazy, man, and I can't just ignore his injury record. Yeah, so
yeah, that's fair. Draft Hash, make him someone else's problem. I like that.
100%.
All right. Speaking of someone else's problem, I don't roster either of these guys, but I'm pretty sure Ryan does both. So let's walk through mine. My first one is Robertson, which is brutal. I mean, especially if you roster him and have held this whole time. Just incredibly brutal. Lost his spot to Tsimikas, it seems. We don't quite know that that's true yet. But lost his spot to Tsimikas, and he has one double-digit performance since basically mid-September. I have not been through the gauntlet of owning him this season, so maybe Ryan could speak to what it's like to actually roster Robbo this season. But yeah, I mean, people have to be close to dropping him, which is an insane thing to say.
Yeah, I think did Ryan drop off?
He hold on. Ryan, you with us?
Yeah, sorry,
I
got kicked out for a second. I was backstage.
You were backstage in the green room.
Like that Interstellar meme where I was just like banging on the thing, watching you guys. Yeah, Robbo's nice. Been a nightmare. I'm so happy I got rid of him like 3 or 4 weeks ago, just because he was dining out on those early clean sheets, and you could just see the underlying stats and the eye tests were just not there. And yeah, I saw the writing on the wall with Semi starting to get some meaningful starts in Europe, that he would have a lot more rotation and or lose a spot. So yeah, I'm glad I dealt him out, and he's somebody else's problem because the name recognition is probably fully eroded now that Simi's starting EPL games. So I don't even know if you can get anything for him at this point. So you might just have to hold and hope that he at least gets the spot back. But yeah, even if he does, I don't expect him to score well at all in this system.
Your only hope was that Tsimikas embarrassed himself, as he is wont to do.
Yeah.
Embarrassed himself in that game, but he did not. Yeah. To beat that team so handily was pretty impressive. So I'm if I have Robbo, I'm selling. Actually, for both my players, I think I'm probably selling low here, which as horrible as it sounds, if you still roster both of these guys, I'm probably going to just go ahead and ship them out for whatever I can get, pennies on the dollar. My second one's Darwin. He has one double-digit score all season. It started to look promising. He finally started a match, scored a goal, started a second match, got an assist. And then recently, again, it's just been nothing. I mean, he's clearly third, fourth choice. And at this point, maybe there's a little bit of name recognition left. I'm done with him. And honestly, like this is the worst part to say out loud. As a Liverpool fan, I think he's a bust.
In general?
Yeah.
You think they should just call it quits and sell him in the summer?
I do.
What do you think they could get for him? Like, I mean, you got
50?
him for 85, so
Yeah.
45, 50 probably.
Yep.
I guess.
And I think you take it.
And then you buy Coventry Ronaldo.
Is that a real nickname?
It's been thrown around in chats for me. But yeah, Gyökeres
I love it.
Looks amazing, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. Coventry Ronaldo. Yeah. I mean, Draft Pie saying that we should have already sold him last summer. It's an interesting case to be made. I mean, regardless, as a fantasy asset, it just seems like the ship has sailed.
I think he's looked pretty good, like in real life, fighting for the team type vibe and under slot. Like, I think he's still finding his footing. I would give him obviously to the end of the season, but he hasn't had a strop or thrown his toys at the pram. It seems like he's got his head down and is actually running his socks off. So like, I don't know. I'm not there yet, but I totally get the frustration.
Evans got hope. Evans says he's going to come
hope
good
for everybody. This guy.
I mean, yeah. Evan, don't get us started on Harvey Elliott, please.
Oh God. I tried to create an algorithm to block him from the toolkit and his 45-point projections every week, but I can't do it.
Oh man.
There was a flick that Darwin did mid-game, I think, this weekend over somebody. It was absolutely beautiful to watch. I mean, he's still playing for the team and stuff like that. He's still contributing, but
I completely agree. I think it's a trust thing. I think it's also. I mean, I'll try to say this in a way that's as sensitive as possible. It's a football IQ thing. I just think that he's not trusted by the manager, and I think that he doesn't fully trust him to be able to execute the tactics.
So right now, like, given like Gakpo's emergence as well, like, who would you say is the best front three if you had to put it out there as a fan?
Oh, I mean, I would go. You're saying given that Jota's out, or you're including Jota in that?
Throw Jota, a fit Jota, because he will come back, right? He will be someone that plays a factor, I think, in your attack.
I mean, you got to say it's Diaz, Salah, and then I'll take either in the middle. Honestly, like I mean, I discounted Gakpo for a long time. I think it took him a long time, longer than most, to find his footing in the Premier League, and he is just incredible lately. It's like absolutely amazing. And so, yeah, I really would take either of the two. I mean, when everyone's healthy, I guess I'm probably leaning slightly Jota, but that's just, that's splitting hairs, I think, at this point.
Yeah, so Darwin basically just falls to the bottom of the list.
Yeah, I mean, super sub. And he is playing for the team. I'll give you that. Like he's really putting it out there. Like his effort, especially to track back, I've been noticing in the last like 5 or 6 games. You'll see him back on defensive duties, and you never would have seen that last season. So yeah, he's definitely putting in the effort. I just don't think that The football IQ and the ability to execute the tactics is there. So if I can, I'm trading out. But I can understand Evan and people like that saying, hold, there's a chance he comes good later. I get that. Yeah. All right, Jeannie. Last straw candidates. Who you got?
First one, Gibbs White.
Yes.
That's not really a nice one to say, because I've been a fan of him, like even like way back in his Wolves days. I think I used to be like the number one Gibbs White advocate. I was a huge fan of him in freaking, what was it called, fantasy career mode on FIFA when I used to play. That was my go-to guy. But anyways, this year he's been not that guy. He's had one great game against Southampton, but I mean, who hasn't? Other than that, he's been pretty useless, to be honest. It seems like Anderson and Hudson-Odoi are being more of the chief creators, and it's not like Forrest are doing poorly either. So I don't see a need to change the way they're doing it. I think they're like top 4 right now. I don't actually know the table right now, but yeah, Gibbs White, he has one double-digit outing. Other than that, he's still like 8 PPS, which is not horrendous. But for a second-round pick, it's pretty bad, and he's not really going 90 in most games anymore. So it is worth trying to trade him out. Get like 1 for 1. You're not going to really be able to get much. He was offered to me in a league. Someone offered like him for Doku to start, then I rejected that. Then they offered him for Hudson-Odoi, and I even rejected that. He's reminding me of those just the mids you could just pick off the waiver wire, like Norgard, Gravenberg, even my boy Mateus Fernandez, like those kind of guys. I'm not going to trade him in for draft day value. I would recommend like packaging with him with someone. Otherwise, like in 2 weeks, he could be damn near like streamer level where you don't even want to play him anymore. Kind of like the Baileys of the world.
Yep. I don't know how this happened, but Haroon in chat said that he traded out MGW for Solanke.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
But he also got Tarkowski for goalkeeper, so a lot of wild things happens in this league.
Okay. So that gives me a little more makes sense. But yeah,
speaking of
White,
speaking of Tarkowski, that's who I traded Gibbs White out for.
Yeah,
and the rest was history, right?
Yep.
It's not like Tarkowski's any good either. I traded him in a league, and man,
he hasn't been great either. So.
No, he's been rough.
Yeah,
he's been rough.
I have hope when Branthwaite comes back, he'll come good.
Yeah,
he always does eventually. Anyways, next one is Paqueta. This one I don't even know if it's considered last straw. You should just drop him. But I looked and he's 90% rostered, so I was like, that's a little surprising to me.
I know.
Dude has that 20-point outing against Ipswich. Other than that, he's been god awful. What's his ghost points? 4.7 ghost points per start. Yeesh. Like at that point, just stream another defender. Yeah, he's not really. I mean, unless Lope goes, which he might this weekend, then maybe things will change. That's why he is kind of last straw. If Lope doesn't go, then just drop him this weekend. But I'm not confident starting him even against Everton. I had him for a while. I started him against Ipswich, benched him the rest of the time, and then traded him for a few fab in the league we're in together, Joe. I was about to drop him, so I said, let me see if I can get a couple of fab for him. But yeah, I'm not liking the way West Ham's looking, but definitely not liking the way Paqueta is looking. And then he's still in this whole betting scandal as well. So
he's not playing full matches. Oftentimes he's going 45. It's come to fruition.
2 45s to his name, a couple of 60 and a bunch of 70s.
It's honestly come to fruition exactly what we were preaching preseason, during draft season. It's like, I don't understand why people are drafting this guy. Like, spend some time with his numbers. You will see he's not a fantasy asset. Like, I really don't understand it.
I don't think any one of us advocated for Paqueta preseason. So
He's in my overvalued draft kit article.
There you go.
It's only
Yeah,
penalties, right? That's it.
yeah,
He's got a weird
he
following.
he had a 1 goal versus Ipswich. That wasn't a penalty. I don't think, at least. Other than that, his other goal was a penalty, and I think he only managed 9 points in that game or something, or 10 points exactly, which is less than what a goal's worth, I'm pretty sure.
So, Genie aside, if he were on the waiver wire, would you pick him up for 0?
No.
Sanjy?
If I was winning my game week, maybe.
All right. It's a very specific scenario. I don't
So basically, no.
know that I am.
Like, I get the wanting to wait to see if West Ham get demolished this weekend, Lope goes, maybe Paqueta becomes like a usable type asset, but
Yeah.
I'm not playing the what ifs with a West Ham attacker who's in a betting scandal. I'm good to just cut my losses.
I think I know the answer to this, but would you rather you have to hold one of them? Would you rather keep Ndidi or Paqueta?
I'd say Ndidi, man. Just I have a weird reasoning that because the schedule is going to get tougher, he might move back to a more advanced role, and Bonanetta might be the shift out wide. And Mavididi dropped for more solidity or something. So I'd be more open to holding that, but again, it's not exactly a happy hold.
Right. Exactly. All right. Happy hold. Yeah. There are your last straw candidates for this go round. Any other thoughts on any of these guys?
No, but I had a list that I had made for this. And is it okay if I just go through 4 of the names and we can just do quick yes no?
Yeah, rattle them off.
Alexis McAllister.
Oh, he's a hold for me.
Dude, what?
That's why I asked it.
No, he should have been dropped weeks, if not months.
Yeah,
ago.
he's a drop.
Oh, I haven't looked. Wow.
It's a no for me, dog.
I haven't. Okay, guys, I'm sorry.
4 ppm.
I haven't looked at these numbers.
Yeah, the numbers have been really bad, Joe.
I don't roster him anywhere. I'll be honest.
You shouldn't.
This is really bad.
Yeah, I don't. He's 89% rostered.
Yeah. So the guys I'm listing are basically like, I think maybe 80 and higher. Kieran Trippier.
Ooh, I'm a little more hopeful there.
I'd still hold. Give him the IB at least.
I guess. Ugh.
Yeah.
Sure. The little bit more promise on that one, I suppose. Ugh.
Yankuba Minte.
Oh, hold.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
You're
Ooh.
dropping him?
I love these split decisions.
Yeah, oh no, I traded him, but I would have.
He's been injured.
I would have dropped him.
I'm gonna wait until he's fully fit and see if he continues to not get picked, and then at that point, yeah, you can drop. But I think
his last game was
cost.
for Spurs, and he scored. So, and then after this week, they have Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham, Leicester, Crystal Palace. That's a tough drop.
When João Pedro's back, and it looks like he might already be, like, they're going to have 1,600 people for each position.
I mean, that's true.
He's going to be
that
a
is-
nightmare.
But we already knew that.
Forwards.
I
Yeah.
did not think about that part. And you got Rudder, Welbeck, Matoma.
Even
Yeah.
freaking Ferguson is getting minutes.
Yep. And scoring. So,
Yeah, I mean that was an aberration, I feel like, but yeah.
and then final name is Anthony Ilanga.
He's dropped
his
in most
points
of my
have been-
leagues, I think.
Yeah, he's just chilling on the waiver wire. No one's even batted an eye.
Yeah. No, that's an easy one.
Yeah, that's it.
This is the right answer from Old Scruffy. If it's to win a game week, you're going to drop Minte.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I like that answer. Ilenga, he's not winning anyone at Gameweek.
No,
I'll tell you that right now.
no.
He looked so promising the first few games though. He was on sets. He was ghosting well. I think he had like 7 ghosts and then 10 ghosts and 9 ghosts or something.
Yeah.
And then I guess reality kicked in and he realized
Yeah.
the kind of player he is.
I guess it did.
Or he was playing for that.
Nope. Genie just dropped off mid-sentence. That's fine. Let's move. Okay, that was the last draw. Up next, November stashes. So international break, we love to just kind of give you all some players that we think maybe once the break has concluded, they'll get either a run out or there's like a chance that they might be able to come back and actually see some time in the starting 11. So these are some of those guys that we are considering. Let's just go same order. Ryan, kick us off.
Yeah, I talked about Curtis Jones a little bit previously, but yeah, he looks good, looks dangerous. What I like about him is that he's always got like a brace monster haul in him. So he has that like crazy upside every now and again that you just can't find on the wire midfield wise anymore. So I think he'll get some decent, if not consistent starts. And yeah, I'm really pulling for him to get the start against Southampton after the IB, and hopefully he gives me a nice haul. But yeah, I think he's probably on the wire in quite a bit of leagues. I picked him up a few weeks ago and I held. Thankfully, I had the room, so I'm still relatively hopeful for him. Yeah, Calafiore, unfortunate to get that injury when he was starting to string together some good performances in real life and fantasy-wise. I think he's the best ghosting Arsenal defender out there this season. So he should be. They've been targeting him to come back after the international break. So if you can buy low, or somebody got impatient and dropped him because the guy's been off the last couple of weeks, then I'd try and pick him up because the schedule turns and he should be healthy after the break. So I think he'll be a good asset to have moving forward.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I wouldn't dream of dropping him. Like, you'd be tempted to put him on, like, man, I'm kind of frustrated. This injury, it's longer than expected, and blah 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 blah. I wouldn't even think about dropping him at this point, unless it was going to be 3 months. I don't think I couldn't see myself dropping him.
Yeah, good lad.
All right, Sanjy.
So Christmas period is coming up, and there's gonna be a lot of games. So we have a lot of players to share those minutes. So I think the forwards are the best place to go. In Nkunku and João Felix are the ones that kind of come to mind. I don't want to suggest Mudryk because I feel like that's going to be a very painful decision. If I'm not mistaken, I think Nkunku has the most goals for us across all competitions. So if he plays, I think he's going to do really well. I still think he's been one of our best players since preseason. And Nicholas Jackson might eventually get that 5th yellow card, which opens up an appearance for him here or there, right? And with João Felix, there's a lot of murmurs as well right now about Cole Palmer might have gotten injured because the butcher absolutely butchered him on his knee. It was a really bad tackle. No. A bit unlucky maybe, but yeah, if he's missing out, there's a slight chance that João comes in maybe as early as this game week. So I don't hate stashing them now. Like, I also think like this game week as well, if your game week is kind of decided, like you're winning for sure, you're losing for sure, and you have like an open spot in your roster, I don't hate stashing as early as like now instead of waiting until the international break goes on and news comes out. Let's say the palm injury is worse than feared and it's too late for you to get these assets. So I'd keep an eye on it because I do think that Maresca's getting us to tick. We're really good going forward, really shut at the back. I must stress that. Don't get our defenders. But yeah, it's either one of those guys. I think is who you're going after, and then the other one is Matt O'Reilly. I think this one's been already going around the communities and chats and stuff like that. So, like a lot of people are starting to be really high on him. I know DraftLad is a fan as well, or I believe he is. Yeah, I do think he will take that spot next to one of Ayari or Baleba in that midfield, and Brighton also playing really, really well. So I think those are the options to go for.
Yeah, I mean, we are part of a community that is, I'll call it like, to use politics speak, way too online, right? Like, so it's just, you're in the bubble. You are constantly like tuned into what's going on. Would it surprise you if I told you that Matty O'Reilly is 12% rostered?
That's pretty, yeah.
And his community status is probably like 90.
See, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So for most people out there, if you're in a home league, he's going to be there, and you can just grab him pretty easily. It's yeah.
You could just wait for him, to be honest. If he's not picked up now, like Ryan said, I just don't believe in this. Now that Ryan especially mentioned about the Brighton rotation, it's just another piece to the already oversized puzzle.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. He was picked up last international break in most of my leagues, and I just thought that was like way too soon.
Way too early.
Yeah. So but I like it. This one's a little bit more realistic, and I like it. I'm excited to see what he's got to offer for sure.
What's Gruta's disparity between community and? I think he's in a similar boat, but obviously not as highly coveted. But I think he's going to be on the bench just as much.
That is an interesting one. I have no idea. He's 3% rostered overall. Couldn't tell you for the community league.
Yeah,
but yeah, that is an interesting one for sure. Draft Pie thinking O'Reilly versus Ayari for one spot. I could see that. That's interesting.
Ayari's been good, man.
Yeah, for sure. Really, really good.
Just to drop him for a dude who has 0 EPL experience, that would be pretty harsh. Like, oh man, it's just rotation CM, 60 minutes on, 60 minutes off, whatever.
Yeah.
It just feels like anyone who plays in the center of the park for Brighton is ghosting well, scoring well. So I mean, if it's not Ayari, it's someone else. Like, it could just be one of the better streams to look for in any of your leagues.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Ryan Gruda, 17% rostered in the big three.
Oh, that's lower than I would think.
Right.
And once O'Reilly gets snatched up, they're going to need their next fix. So,
who the heck? I have never heard this name before. Gruda.
Yeah. Consider yourself lucky.
Baryan? Baryan? What's his name? Baryan. Yeah.
I'm good. I'll pass if I don't know your name.
I'll give you guys a guess. Just give me an over/under where you're comfortable betting in terms of Matty O'Reilly's rostership in the big three community leagues.
60 maybe.
80.
I have more faith that the community is not going to be holding a guy who's never played in the Prem.
That's where you're wrong, my friend.
Try 96.
I've lost my faith.
I lowballed myself. I said 90 initially. And I was like, since you repeated it, I started to doubt myself. But yeah.
Yep.
Dude, people are losing game weeks over holding this guy. I could guarantee people have lost at least one game week for holding this guy. And you could probably get him back for maybe 2 fab if you dropped him to win your game week.
Way too online.
It is what it is.
Yep, it is. All right, here are my two. So the first one is I pulled a Ryan, and I did Simicas and Jones, which is fair that you called me on that one, Ryan, and included Jones in yours as well. That's no big deal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see. Did I? If you put them in first, I'm sorry. I think I just saw Simi. And
It's all good.
Simeon Jones sounds like a great hipster band name.
Simeon Jones, yeah, it's almost like except for it'd have to be like Simeon, like Simian, Simeon Jones, and the guy wears a monkey mask.
Yes, of course. This one does.
I just came up with that right now. I'm really proud of it.
Open up for the blind roofers.
I said just check because there are many people out there who think that they're going to be gone in their leagues. Oh, my league's, way too active, whatever. We were having this very conversation last week. It was becoming clearer and clearer that Tsimikas was, about to get the start and take the role. I picked him up during the pod. Ryan was talking with Ryan and Totti, and they mentioned Tsimikas, and I went and just checked, and he was right there, just for free to grab. Yeah. So just check. The other one is, Ryan, let me know how you feel about this one. Gabriel Jesus. I know it's blasphemy for me to say this, but Kai has been a little bit bad.
I think Kai is a great buy low.
Oh, right, man. Now. Interesting. Okay.
And I roster him, so I've been frustrated myself, but give you a few reasons for it. But obviously, like, everybody's been in the mud with Odegaard out. The creativity just has not been there. And with him out, like, Kai's been moved around outside of the prototypical number 9 position where he was prior and where he was scoring well and actually scoring goals. So with Odegaard back, I think 1, they're going to be playing well, and 2, Kai should be up top, and then the schedule turns after Chelsea. So I think people probably are getting a little skittish about him given his last 4 performances, but I think he's going to be just fine, and he'll revert back to his early season prolific scores. I roster Jesus in one league, the one league where I have Kai, just as like a security blanket, just in case. And I haven't been forced to drop him out of necessity yet, thankfully. But I just don't see it barring an injury to Kai.
Interesting. Yeah, I just kind of wondered, like, he missed a lot of pretty good chances tonight. Didn't seem to be dialed in. His form has been suffering. Yeah, I mean, what's the limit of Arteta's patience, I feel like? And at what point do you give him a couple matches to just kind of think about it?
I mean, it hasn't happened yet, and
that's true.
We've been shorthanded and out of form. So
and that was the whole argument I was making all offseason too, which is why Jesus was so low in my rankings. But if there was any time to potentially kind of just pick him up if you have an extra spot, it might be now. Who knows? But that's why I'd defer to you on that one.
No, I mean, we've been. You just mentioned the semi shot. Like, that's when the eye test is really helpful. Like, you see Robertson get bodied by Saka. And you can read the tea leaves. You know that it's coming, and so you speculatively pick up Simi midweek, and he ends up starting and doing well, and then potentially taking over the role, and it's just a free early week punt. So like, if you start to see those things, like, you can make a very calculated guilt-free bet, and sometimes they pay off, like Simi. So,
yeah, that's exactly it.
But I just don't see it for Jesus this season yet, and again, barring a Kai injury or something crazy.
That's what most of these are, to be honest, is, just in case or kind of like what if. Aside from, yours I feel like are more just check and see if they're there on your wire. Because these are guys you definitely want to hold.
Yeah, and very, very cheap trades if they're not.
Yeah. And yes, I mean, Sanjy's a mix, I think. A little bit of a lottery ticket in O'Reilly, and Chelsea forwards are just kind of one of those where, if they start? If they start, you just struck gold for at least 1 week. And Jeannie, talk to us about yours. Yours, I feel like, are a little bit deeper cuts.
Yeah, I got Fofana for. I mean, I think he's 18% roster. That might just be me, but yeah, I tutored him in Sleepers 11 back in the pre-draft kind of thing, hoping that he could get back to like his Leicester days when he was pretty reliable. I remember rostering him back then. And he started off pretty poor, and then he's kind of been ghosting really well the last few weeks. 13.5 ghosts, 6 ghosts with a yellow, 8.25 ghosts with a yellow, and then I guess like 6-ish ghosts. So he's been up there. And then after Arsenal, they have Leicester, Villa, Southampton, Spurs, Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, Palace. He's already served his 1-match ban for suspension for yellow cards. Hopefully he doesn't get 10 yellow cards, but at the rate he's going, he might. I think he has like 6 yellow cards in his last 7 games, but it's not really affecting his output at all. So that's why I kind of liked him. As well, this week he plays on the last game of the game week. So if you really get stuck in, I mean, I don't like playing a Chelsea defender against Arsenal, but they don't seem to be scoring in bunches right now. Maybe Chelsea will just hope for a draw, and then you know that he's going to be busy for sure. So it's not the worst backup to have in the world. But yeah, he's one to definitely hold, and he could be everything I thought Caldwell was a few weeks ago. So I do like him as a pickup. And then Igor Thiago, that's a bit more like a roster dependent. I'm not really super high on him, but I just wanted to bring the name up because I feel like it's someone that's gone under the radar and he's already back in training. He could be picked up if you are desperate for a forward. Like I picked him up in one league, but I kind of avoided him in a few others. I don't know with Brentford being so good up front right now how he's going to fit into that side. I assume it'll be like Lewis Potter that drops out and he'll go in up top with Wissa and Mbumo flanking him. That's just my initial guess. But yeah, it will be good to see how quickly he gets up to speed over the international break. And you just know that once he gets his first appearance, you could trade him out. That's my thinking right now. I guess the same could be said as O'Reilly, but you could probably wait on this one. If you don't absolutely need to pick him up this week, you might be able to get him in 1 week. Maybe now that the name's been said in community leagues, his roster numbers will go up, but we'll see.
Yeah. Still a couple weeks away, maybe even a few weeks away, but he's back training outside. He's yet to train with the team. But yeah, it looks like he's back on grass, which is always a good thing. I like it. All right. Let's get some streamers out of the way here and shut this thing down, guys. Jeannie, we're coming right back to you for our Game Week 11 streamers.
All right, I got my boy Mateus Fernandes as my first one. I have him in every league. He's been ghosting well the last few games. He's getting on the end of some potential attacking returns. It was the game against Everton. If he controlled the ball a little better, he probably could have had himself a goal. Still got 8.5 ghosts or 7.5 ghosts or something. 10 ghosts against City. Leicester will forget, but did well against Arsenal. And then, it's Wolves, so he should get himself some chances. After that, I got the CB duo of Lacroix and Chalobah. Whoever you could get your hands on, that's kind of my thing. I prefer Chalobah personally, maybe because I have him everywhere, but I like Lacroix as well. There's a lot worse streamers this week in defense, but Tillman could also be a good one. Everton aren't exactly going to score 2 goals. Well, I mean, you never know with West Ham, though, but you just have to think
It's
that
true, you don't.
If, you have Beto or DCL starting, both who have been horrific, that he'll have his fair share of headers to win and mop up. So it's a good streamer, and he should be available in most places. And then Kluivert versus Brentford. I wasn't too sure how high rostered he is. He's only rostered 40% of leagues. He's one that's such a wild card. You don't know what kind of game you're going to get out of him. Like that 10.5 against City with no returns was really unexpected.
Yeah.
And then he gets himself 2 points versus Aston Villa before that. So it's one of those mid-5s. I'd rather start him than like Ndidi in that CDM role, just because Brentford can give up goals. They have 0 clean sheets, so he could pop up with a return this week. And I think Utera is still out, so he should be good to start.
All right. I like that. Okay. Sanjy.
I'm sorry, Genie, but I had to look at the slide to know who you were talking about for that last name, bro.
Mispronunciation again.
I was like so confused for a second.
Is it because he didn't say Kluivert?
Yeah. There
Louis
you go.
Ver-
There you go.
If he scores this weekend, I'll learn his name.
There you go. Yeah.
But I like your reasoning for picking him because it's a similar one to why I'm suggesting Evan Nilsson, which is one of my 4 picks that you can see on screen. It's purely just because Brentford are giving up goals, giving up chances. Like, it's crazy. Like, they used to be solid, and now it's the other way around. They score goals. Like, their games are fun to watch. Honestly, I haven't seen a dull Brentford game for the season yet. But yeah, M. Nelson's not ghosting, so I don't know. Proceed with caution, I want to say. Another pick is Lindstrom versus West Ham. And actually, I'll touch on Sarr versus Fulham because both of the picks are mentioned in our waivers article. I think Totti is doing it this week. We did a bit of a switcheroo with sleepers and waivers. So definitely go read the article, look at his takes. But yeah, I mean, Lindstrom comes in because Harrison is crap and Everton do need to get some wins and get some points. Lindstrom last performance, he scored quite well. I think, what was it, 12.75 all ghost points as well.
Yep.
And played nearly 90 minutes. So, I mean, West Ham are in shambolic form. So that game literally could be like a 2-2, 3-3 sort of deal. So let's hope, you can nick a attack and return or something. Sarr has been ghosting well. And I mean, if Eze is out, they're going to need to play him, I think, along with Mateta and Ketia, and they're all kind of linking up quite well. I mean, somebody has to take the responsibility and be creative or get the attack and returns for that team right now. So let's hope it's him. And then Ayari versus Man City. I mean, we touched on him earlier on in the pod. Ghosting really well for that Brighton team, and Man City are, the wheels are falling off. It's a home game for Brighton, so I do think we might see an upset on the cards. Let's hope for one at least.
That would be interesting. Yeah, people in chat saying that IR is a ballsy call against City.
Yeah, it definitely is, right? But I mean, he ghosted well against Liverpool. I think Ryan was telling me when we recorded the night before or something like that. So Liverpool is one of the best defensive teams in the league, right? If not the best. So if Ayar can do that against them, I'm hoping maybe much of the same versus City, because without Rodri, like their midfield just looks sluggish. Like Gundogan needs to bench, man. Like it's crazy.
They are not the best defensive team in the league, safe to say. City is, man, I can't even explain what's happening on that defensive line. I like it. I guess something to maybe monitor is that Ayari potentially picked up a knock last game.
Yeah, I saw a flag, but it's a solid red.
Okay.
So I'm banking on the solid red. But genuinely, like, whoever is playing in that midfield, I think it's worth a punt, right? If you're coming up like choices against like Ndidi, etc. Like, don't get me wrong, I know we trash United all the time, but new manager bounce is a thing, and I do think like United are going to turn a corner as well with Amorim. So he's not taking charge until after the international break, right?
Correct. Yes, correct. Yeah. This last game was his last game with Sporting.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, Rude at the helm. What can go wrong?
There you go.
I guess it would be Reefer if he's fit to take over Ayari's spot if he's still harboring a knock. It's hard to tell, but I think that's probably the play. He'd be an even ballsier choice, but
that would be too ballsy for me. I think maybe
not as attack minded, right? He's much more
spray the ball, but like they're going to be playing on the transition, so like that pivot role is going to be spraying transition balls to attacking players that if they continue with it and get some shots off, they can rack up some points. But yeah, it's risky.
That's true. It's gonna be. I mean, people in chat just saying it's gonna be a good match. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. Just purely from a spectating standpoint. All right, Ryan, take us away.
I was clearly the last one in here. I've seen Branthwaite dropped in a couple of my leagues, which I guess I get because he's they're slow rolling him back from injury. But
right.
Yeah, we've seen in his brief cameos this season that he can score pretty well, and he also, I think as Jeannie alluded to earlier, helps the overall Everton defense. So I don't mind taking a punt on him. He still might be too soon, but I think he probably is ready for a start, and if not, he will be over the international break. So he's one that even if he doesn't start, is still a decent international break stash. And yes, Senesi, I don't know why I put versus Bournemouth. But I'm just trying to say that they're playing against themselves, really.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Classic mind game, right?
Philosophically, yeah. They can only shoot themselves in the foot. But yeah, Senesi's getting back to his pretty consistent, solid ghosting ways. And he's always got the ability to nick an attacking return. So yeah, I like picking him up this week. They play Brentford. That's probably why I got confused there. That's usually a decent matchup for defenders, although they can score in bunches as well. But in general, the Bournemouth schedule is pretty good. So he's a medium-term hold, I would say. I put Bellegarde in here as kind of a placeholder because I think either him or Sarabia or potentially Guedes is going to get one of those creative attacking roles for Wolves this weekend against Southampton, and obviously that's a great matchup. So I
feel like I'd be more comfortable playing Sarabia or Guedes, I think, than Bellegarde personally.
Yeah, no, I think you'd want Sarabia, then Guedes, then Bellegarde. But I think if you're desperate for midfield streamers, I think he's a decent punt. If he gets the start, given the matchup. So, yeah. Speaking of which, Totti, if you need a defensive streamer, also has that good matchup against Southampton, although Wolves can't keep a clean sheet to save their lives. He ghosted the best out of all the Wolves defenders this past weekend. Not to say that he keeps it up, but he also gets random attacking returns. So if you need some defensive upside, he might be your man.
I like that. A couple of random questions. Let's see. Somebody asked, 1 second. Senesi over Kirkes. Draft Espresso wondering.
I think so. Kirkes is kind of an attacking return merchant. If he doesn't get that, he can't really score that well. Whereas Senesi's kind of the opposite. He goes pretty consistently. So I guess it depends on where you are in your matchup. If you need like crazy upside, maybe Kirkes. But if you looking for a consistent 8 to 10 pointer, Senesi's your man. But in general, I think I would probably lean Senesi.
I like it. I'm just going to tee you up on this one quick, Ryan. Draft Hash saying that Everton need to play Jai in the 10.
I called him the 3-point magician in the chat because the last 2 weeks he's been bang on 3 points each week. Now it looks like he's got a knock. So
to your credit, every time we bring him up, you're like, "Don't believe it, don't believe it, don't believe it." And
yeah, a little bit of indication there. I mean, I like him as a player. I didn't buy the hype. So we'll see. Everton attack is a wasteland.
Yeah, that checks out. And then finally, for those wondering, I mentioned the toolkit a lot and how incredibly impressive it is. It has a tab on there that you can go to where it says Gameweek transaction data, and that tells you all of the players that were picked up in the big 3 community leagues, the leagues where people are really involved and really know their stuff. And just to kind of go through some of the main players added this week, you're looking at guys like Kirkes, the number 1 picked up player because he was at 0% before. So he is currently at 32. So that's a pretty big jump, but still not, Senesi went from 46 to 75. Other players, Jones, Clivert, like Jeannie mentioned, Fatawu, which unlikely he's there if you're in an active league. Ayari, Joe Willock.
I don't have the words.
I can't. I'm too beaten down. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. Daichi Kamada is an interesting one. I think he has a pretty low ceiling, personally, but he could be okay for 8 ghost points, something like that. And most of the other guys we mentioned. Oh, what about Beto? People talking about Beto getting starts and getting excited about it. I personally don't see it.
No.
Just no. I like it.
He's DCL without the aerials.
Yeah, that's fair.
He can always pop up for a goal, but that's not worth the punt.
Yeah,
for me at least.
I like it. All right, let's close her down. I promised my wife I would take her out to eat to drown our sorrows and some chicken tenders. So
good for you, man. Good for you.
we're gonna do that. Everybody, thanks for listening. Chat, you guys were incredible tonight. Thank you so much for being here, being a part of this thing, and just keeping us honest and asking questions, calling us out on stuff. Sometimes we love it. We absolutely love it. So thank you so much, and listeners, you all are amazing as well. Thank you, everyone. Thanks to the community for truly, and this is where I'll get emotional again, but like truly giving us something that's really beautiful and something that's for the most part, very, very positive, almost always, and really uplifting and something we can all come together and do. So thank you guys. We appreciate that. And it means a lot more than you know, especially during weird or dark times sometimes. So with that, I'll leave it. KPC out. Love you guys. Talk to everyone soon. Cheers.